Alright guys, it's Jahlon from the Paradox Gaming Network, and it has been a couple of weeks since we talked about Ashes of Creation. A little bit of a slow month for Intrepid with the working from home. They have done a couple of successful playtests with the Phoenix Initiative members, and so while there's not a lot of stuff today, I did want to break this video off from Friday's monthly recap, because we never know what we're going to get in the live stream, and I want to keep Friday's video on the shorter side. The most important thing that's come out in the last month, if you have not taken the chance to go watch the 90-minute 4K upload of gameplay footage, I recommend you do that. I have put a link to that gameplay in the description below. Steven was going to live stream some gameplay on the 31st. However, his ISP wasn't giving him the upload speeds he needed to make it a good experience. So instead, we got 90 minutes of gameplay footage. The good part about this, I think it finally kills all of the rumors that Intrepid isn't working on an MMORPG, because this is unscripted and it would be really hard to be convincing unscripted. Next thing I want to focus on the studio move. And I know if you follow my show, you've heard me talk about the studio move a couple of times in the past. Once Intrepid was getting ready to move and the company that was going to lease them the space got bought, and the new owner said, we want to keep that space. And then the other time the building got sold and the new owner said, we're not doing any more leasing. So this time when they said they were moving and they were supposed to move months ago, I've been like, yeah, get to me when you actually are moving. And they did. It's a picture from their old studio, and there's desks missing and there's computer equipment missing. So they are in fact finally getting able to move, and being able to move into that new facility will allow them to onboard more staff. This smaller studio that we see, they couldn't bring any more people on board. They were at the maximum per square foot allotment. And then I specifically asked when, because I'm a big stickler. I want to know when. And they said end of August. I wanted to know if they were live streaming this week from their new studio. They said, we are currently moving out of the old studios and expect to be in the new studio around the end of August, depending on the COVID situation. And I think we're all reasonable and rational people, and the pandemic that the planet is facing has been kind of rough, but Intrepid has been making things work. And we don't have a lot of photos of the new studio yet, but from the couple that we saw, and I just picked one to show, this is going to give them the space they need to have full team meetings and not be crammed into that little meeting room they have. So I'm really excited that they're finally getting into their new studio. Next up, I want to talk about the music. I know a lot of people are stoked that Bear McCreary is the lead composer on Ashes of Creation. I would find it hard to believe that you don't know who Bear McCreary is, but if you haven't seen his other works, The Walking Dead, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., video game wise, he did work on God of War, he did Battlestar Galactica, and then my personal favorite, he did Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. So he has a lot of experience as a composer and in the entertainment industry. Now, originally, we were hoping to hear Bear's music in alpha, and the music that you hear in all of the Ashes of Creation little short videos, that is not his music. So what we found out is Bear's music will be unveiled in Beta 1. And then we got the ever famous and ever memeable Nodes 3. There may be a track for Nodes 3, but we'll see. But here's the secret, guys. Nodes 3 has been out for a while. It's up there in the upper right-hand corner. I'm just kidding. That's my parody of Nodes 3, but I still think you should check it out. I think it's a masterpiece. All right, moving on to some Q&A stuff. One of the greatest things about having the creative director, Steven, be active in the Discord, and he's a gamer and a player, he's been playing MMOs his whole life, is he likes to talk, and he's also there to provide clarification. Now, with the mayors thing, constantly people ask, can a guild leader be a mayor? And there's people that are afraid that streamers are going to just control all the nodes. And then people are afraid that, can a king be a mayor? And a lot of people say yes, a lot of people say no, and they base their arguments based on this 2017 quote where Steven said mayors will likely not be guild leaders. And what Steven was getting at, and he and I have talked about this, is the role of a guild leader is to pay attention to the guild, the role of the mayor is to pay attention to the node, and it's going to take a special kind of individual to be able to properly lead their guild and their node and not lose one of these two jobs. Well, this has been going on for 3 years, and we finally got Steven to, put a little ink to paper for us, and he came back with, there are no restrictions on who can be elected mayor, except that they must be a citizen, and you can only ever be a citizen of one node at a time. And then that sometimes isn't enough for people, so he did give us the foot stomp You could be a king and a mayor, yes. And why does that guarantee guild leader? To be a king, you must be a guild leader that owns a castle. So this gives us all the sound bites we need on this particular one. The other one that we got out of Steven this month is we were talking about shops and stalls. And I know there are a lot of players who want to focus on just that PvE, that role of the merchant, the shopkeeper. They want to focus on that. And we've heard about the marketplace and we've heard about the market. And the market is a unique building to economic nodes. I do have a video on economic nodes up there. You might want to check that one out. What we got from Steven was: players can drop down a personal shop within proximity of a market, a unique building, available only in economic nodes. They can also purchase personal shop certs from the economic nodes to place down this shop anywhere in the world, but once the market is stage 6. So the market, unique building in an economic node that reaches Metropolis, it will sell personal shops. Now, I do have a caveat on that. Anywhere in the world, I do have to check with Steven. Did he really mean anywhere in the world, or did he mean on your freehold or near the node? I'll get more out of him on this one. He also talks about stalls. Stalls can be rented by citizens to provide crafts, services, a suite of items for players to utilize, and do not require the attendance of the character. And then this is followed up with, or the player to be online, unlike personal shops. So it sounds like your shop, you have to be there to sell goods and offer services. It sounds like stalls, it's an automatic function. People have said, but it doesn't say I can have a stall in every node. I would imagine that stalls are for all the nodes, and shops are economic specific. And I will get more out of him when I do my interview. And I am ecstatic to be interviewing Steven again. I will say I interviewed him last April, and that video is up there in the corner, but I do apologize. The audio is pretty bad. We hadn't figured out how deaf I was. So in the video, I'm screaming. You can barely hear Steven. I deeply apologize, but there's lots of good information in it. When am I going to be interviewing Steven? Interview will aim for the first week of July. Steven will nail down the date soon. Trademark. I'm not really concerned with, holding them to a date. I know they're busy. They're trying to get moved. They're still trying to do testing. Just knowing that I'm going to be able to interview Steven again, that's going to be a good time. If you guys have specific questions you want me to ask, make sure you include them in the comments on this video, and I'm going to draw those into the other questions I'm drawing from. I'm not going to promise that I'm going to ask your question. I'm not going to promise that I'm going to ask all the questions. I have a list of questions, but you might put a really good one up. And with that, guys, that is it for today. I do want to remind you, if you haven't checked it out already, go to ashes101.com. That is where I'm starting to, do my educator thing. I've got a lot of text there. That's kind of like the textbook. I've got a lot of videos tied in to certain sections. That's like the online lectures. If this is your first introduction to Ashes of Creation, sign up for Ashes right now today. There's a link in the description below. That's my referral code. Helps me out. Going to put a little bit of money in the Paradox Gaming Network coffers, and then I'm going to be doing giveaways for specifically subscription time with Ashes when the game launches. If you ever have a question about Ashes of Creation, get me on Discord. I'm Jahlon, #0001. I will usually answer you same day. I do sleep sometimes. And with that, guys, I will see you on Friday for the live stream recap. And until then, stay safe and enjoy your summer.
What are you still doing here? Nobody ever stays this long. This is the end screen. Well, since you're here, there's a couple other videos I think you should check out. And all those names, those are my patrons over at Patreon. I couldn't do this without them. So, big thanks to them for all their support.